What's going on, Falcon fan? This is what we're gonna do. Going back at you with another video. So obviously we know what happened last night. Shout out to the guys from 95 North Show for having me on last night. For the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft, and I know you guys saw my reaction to that. But I had time to sleep on it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts about how the Atlanta Falcons actually shocked the NFL world last night when they picked Michael Penix Jr. at the number 8 overall position, 8 overall pick in this year's draft. We're going to definitely talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Then I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it and how I really feel about it, and we'll see what the Atlanta Falcons actually going to do day 2 moving forward. It's still 7 picks left in this draft, so the draft is not over. So if they would have picked who we wanted to pick last night, defensive player, whatever, and that would have been the only pick they had, the team still would not been complete. So it's not just one pick in the draft. So I understand the whole ideal about the first pick in the draft and what it can do for you. And I'm going to talk about that myself, what I think about it. But end of the day, the Falcons still have opportunities to build this team to make us better this year. And we're definitely going to talk about that today. And one of my thoughts about it, we're about less than an hour away from the second round to start. And we'll definitely get into that. So, guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys are here to talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in here and we talk about. That's right, these Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, I got my red and black hat on today. I want to kind of, they shook up the world. That's what they did. That's what they did yesterday. They shook up the world by picking a quarterback. And before we even get into the decision to do it, let's talk about the player, Michael Penix Jr. at first, man. Let's get into it because from the fan base standpoint and how everybody reacted, it makes it seem like we do not like the player. And that's not the case. It's not the case at all. I personally think that Michael Penix Jr. could be definitely be a really good quarterback in the NFL. And last night it was asked, do I think he's more ready, to play right now than a Drake May? And honestly, I believe he might be more ready to play than the other 2 quarterbacks that were taken in 1 and 2 as well, because he already is a pocket quarterback. That's what he does. Most people say he had the best arm, from all the quarterbacks, being able to, the way he threw the ball down the field and all that stuff. So when you look at it from that standpoint, Michael Penix Jr. himself, right? That's the issue. It's not about him. And that's what people got to understand. I think he could definitely be a good pick. I mean, a good player for the Atlanta Falcons. And he's here now, so we definitely going to be able to find that out. And honestly, if he was picked in the second round or the third round, I don't think it would have been this much outrage, right? I just don't think it would have been this much outrage because the player himself, and I've seen numerous mock drafts where people pick Michael Penix to get picked in the second round, right? Because we talked about it. Kirk Cousins is an older quarterback, so you had to have a succession plan. It's just the way the Atlanta Falcons went by doing this succession plan. Just kind of caught everybody off guard. It was a shock. It just really what it really was. But the player himself, Michael Penix Jr., I think he's a great young man. If you listen to all his interviews today, he's handling this in the best way he can because we all know how the PR nightmare this probably could be, taking a guy in the top 10 that's potentially going to sit for years, and then Kirk Cousins had one bad game. We already know how that's going to turn out. The fan base going to be clamoring for Michael Penix to get in the game. What if he look really good in the preseasons? The thought process is going to start going and going and going. So could it maybe create our quarterback controversy here in Atlanta? Yes, because you're picking a guy in the top 10, and if you're thinking he's your franchise guy, it definitely could be the situation. But Michael Penix Jr. himself, I really believe that he's going to be a good player in this league. It's not about him, And that's where we really need to, take it back, because all the hate and everything that the Atlanta Falcon fans and the pundits all throughout the TVs and everything is throwing back at the Atlanta Falcons, it seemed like it's coming, at the quarterback himself. So we just need to make sure we keep your energy in the right place. And this man lived out his dream. He's going to be in the NFL. He probably, to him, he probably not the way he wanted either, because I'm pretty sure he's ready to get on the field. But he's dealt and he's dealt. He's going to get paid handsomely. He's going to get time to learn the system, and in the long run, it could definitely work out for him in the the best for him. So, and hopefully work out for the franchise. But the player himself, Michael Penix Jr., we need to give him his grace and let him enjoy his moment of being selected in the NFL, living out his childhood dream. And let's get off the whole, this is such a terrible pick and all that stuff, because at the end of the day, the kid didn't do anything but go out there and play and have a team like the Atlanta Falcons sign a quarterback for $100 million guaranteed, and then pick him because he wowed them in his workout. So let's just respect this guy, this young man, and let him enjoy this moment, because he lived out his childhood dream. I just wanted to say that about Michael Penix, and I'm one of the ones said, because I did not like this pick. I'm not going to sit here and try to sugarcoat it and like I understand it. If you watched the video last night, the live that we did, I don't understand this pick, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't understand it. But at the same time, I understand why they did it. I understand why they did it. But the real reason I don't understand it, guys, is it's just simple for me. It's the timetable and where the pick was made. That's just really what it boils down to. The timetable for this pick, it just does not line up where the Falcons is right now, right? We just talked about Arthur Blank fired Arthur Smith because he wanted to win now, right? So you go out and get a win-now quarterback, right? So all the focus, in my opinion, should have been to win now, right? That's why it don't line up with the timetable, right? And you picking a guy at number 8, well, I say the pick, but you picking a top 10 guy at number 8, he can't contribute to this team. And if you pick a guy in the top 10, that's the first thing you're expecting for that top 10 guy to do, is contribute to the team right away to help the team. That's why I was reporting that Kirk Cousins was, befuddled as well, because he's like, how did this help me? Right? Doesn't help him at all, right? Doesn't help the team, doesn't help anybody. So the timetable of this pick and, where being the top 10 pick, it just does not line up. That's the reason why everybody is so, like so confused. Like I said, we picked in the second round. I think most people would have felt a whole lot better about it. They really would. They understand. Okay, yeah, we need a succession plan. I get it, but so this the way I had to look at it, and I hope you guys look at it as well. Just look at it that Atlanta Falcons did not have a first round pick this year, right? They already made their pick for 2025. That's the way I looked at it. Because if you look at it in that sense, right? Atlanta Falcons did not have a first round pick, because this pick does not help the Atlanta Falcons at all this year, right? So Atlanta Falcons went through the pick last night and then pick in the first round. That's the way I'm looking at it. And if you look at it that way, because a lot of teams have that, right? A lot of teams don't have a first round pick. The Carolina Panthers didn't have a first round pick last night, right? They got the pick in the second round. So they missed out the whole first round. The Atlanta Falcons, in my opinion, for 2024 to make this team better, did not have a pick in the last night in the first round. That's the way you look at it, guys, right? They made a pick for 2025 because they feel like they ain't gonna be able to get this guy next year because they're not going to be this high, right? They got a quarterback of their future, right? They picked him a year early, in my opinion. The 2024 pick in the first round did not exist for Atlanta Falcons because this pick does not help them at all. It's just that simple. If you look at it that way, that's why I had to put it in my mind. And if I do it that way, it makes me feel better because I'm like, this pick is not going to help us at all, right? It's not going to help us for 2024. It's not going to help us with 2025 either, but at least for 2025, you got a guy that now you understand the succession plan, because if Kirk Cousins starts to, to fall off next year or whatever, now you got your guy there that can put, go right in, and now you can get off that guaranteed money that you got for Kirk Cousins right after next season. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Just take away this year's draft, because it doesn't matter. Picking him at number 8 does not help the Atlanta Falcons this year. Anybody can sugarcoat all they want, and they knew that. They knew the front office, Coach Raheem Morris and the coaching staff knew that this was going to happen. It's no doubt in my mind that they understood how everybody was going to react to this, but they was living, looking at how they was going to try to move towards the future and sustain this team throughout the years, right? Raheem Morris said he's not coaching just for 2024. He want to be a coach for Atlanta Falcons for years to come. So this pick, in my opinion, was a pick where they just say we going to throw away this pick because we getting our guy for the future. That's the way they did it. And if you look at it that way, right? And if you go back to the Rams, where he came from, when the last time the Los Angeles Rams had a first round pick, right? So I think he's saying, look, we were successful. We didn't have a first round pick since 2016, right? And we were successful with the Los Angeles Rams. We won the Super Bowl. We had a first round pick since 2016. Not saying that both teams translate, because the Rams probably got more holes, filled than the Atlanta Falcons got a lot of holes they still need to fill. But if you're looking at it, he probably saying that, hey, we don't need a first round pick, but we're going to take this first round pick and put it towards our future. And now we're going to take our other 7 picks and put it for right now. That's the way I looked at it. If you guys look at it that way, you can kind of get where these guys coming from. The timetable, the pick does not make sense for where we're at right now as a team, right? It does not make sense. And that's why you if anybody upset with it, I'm 100% with you, because I'm the same way. But if you look at it and the way I just looked at it, guys, Atlanta Falcons did not have a pick in the first round last year. I mean, this year, right? They picked for 2025, right? They went on and got their quarterback out the way. So now we don't have to worry about who's going to be the quarterback for the Falcons, who's going to be a succession plan. That question has been answered. Now they can build a team around Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr., right? Now the much money they put into Kirk Cousins, right? What if he pans out, right? You start going down those different scenarios. What if he's playing well and year 3, year 4, right? And you have to then you got a quarterback. You have to make a decision about his 5th round pick. I mean, his 5th year option. Do you make a trade? Whatever, right? They have to worry about that down the road. But if you're looking at it right now from a timetable standpoint, right, it didn't make sense to get a Michael Penix Jr. And if you look at it as that they did not have a pick last night, right? We sat on live for 4 hours and we talked about this, but in my opinion, Atlanta Falcons did not pick last night, because it does not help this team in the near future. And the way it's looking, if Kirk Cousins pans out like we hoping he do and plays well, it won't help us next year as well. We'll just already have our pick here. We have our guy who's been in the system for a couple of years. Hopefully, when he does get his opportunity, he hit the ground running. That's the way you got to look at it. So let's get some of these comments out here. Paul Matthews says, "Love the future pick. It's not guaranteed Kurt will be ready." That's a good point. He might not be ready, but I'm gonna tell you right now, he's going to be ready. He's going to be ready, because now he knows. Because if he's not ready and Michael Penix go out there and show out, hey, it's going to really create a quarterback controversy. So I believe Kirk Cousins will be ready. I think if anything, he's probably going to rush himself now. So, I mean, he ain't coming out that field if he can play. That's what I'm thinking. Like I said, Michael Penix is Culpepper, McNair type. Yeah, that left arm, man, that ball comes off nice with that left arm motion. Then they mentioned that, the last left-handed quarterback we had here, we knew who that was. So you just, like I said, from a player standpoint, just take all your emotions out. Where the Falcons at, the timetable and all that stuff. I really like Michael Penix Jr. and a lot of people saying that they should have known they can get him in number 8. Like, I don't think they could have took that chance, man. They had to go out and get Kirk Cousins, which to me was smart to do. But now, everybody gonna be looking at them crazy, and I get it. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, quarterback is not an issue for the Atlanta Falcons anymore, right? And hopefully we can say that for the next 10 to 12 years, that quarterback is not an issue for the Atlanta Falcons anymore. So that's really good. What's going on, Anthony? He said plus the tampering penalties, right? That's another thing. That's definitely another way to look at it, right? We're probably going to lose some picks next year, so you go out and go ahead and you're going to get your pick for 2025 out the way, so they can't take that pick. So you already got one of your 2025 picks out the way by taking your quarterback of the future. And if we losing the picks next year, we already picked for 2025, and it was our number 8th overall pick this year, because this pick does not help the Atlanta Falcons in 2024. This pick is the future, and it's perfect for Penix to be sitting behind a great vet like Kirk. We said on quarterback for the next 8 to 10 years, I would say I did want another Mario, and that's pretty much what Anthony just said. That's pretty much how the front office and coaching staff looked at it, right? Hey, we don't have to worry about quarterback play anymore. We just need to worry about anything else. And that's, to me, that takes a lot of pressure off front office, out of coaching, because now you can build a team around your quarterback, right? Whoever it's going to be, because it's going to be one of those guys look like moving forward. So now you can just focus on that and build a team around those guys. So that's a great point. Gary said, Connor, I watched the show this morning and I was shocked at you. I really like Penix and enjoyed the interview today. Falcons hope this plan works out, and I really do. I trust Terry and Raheem. And that's pretty much, guys, that's what you got to do, because at the end of the day, right, the decision these guys make, right, these their jobs on the line, right? So they had to have conviction in this, and we knew, it's 100%, we all knew that they had to know that the reaction they was going to get from the fan base, from the media, from everything. They already knew this, but they had convictions to do this. And you got to have you have to like the fact that Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot emphasized that they don't plan on being back, in the top 10. So that conviction and that confidence that they showed in their abilities, to bring in the talent, and Raheem Morris' ability, said he's gonna coach these guys up to actually put a winning team out there for sustained success. That's what you gotta like about it. So we've been around with this, especially with Terry Fontenot, for the last 3 seasons. I think for the most part, we really like the moves he have made, from a personnel standpoint. This might be the first time we kind of questioned the plan and things like that. And like I said, from a timetable standpoint, it doesn't make sense, guys. Like, they can't convince me that this bringing in a quarterback now for your session plan makes sense, because picking a guy in the top 10 is supposed to be able to contribute to the team right away. It's just that simple. And like I said, if he was picked in the second round, maybe nobody would even have a problem with that. But a top 10 pick is supposed to be able to contribute right away, right? But for Michael Penix Jr., it's not the case. And it might work out, benefit him in the long run, to be able to sit behind a pro like Kirk Cousins and learn, just like Anthony was saying. And I think that's really going to help him in the long run. Now, it is precedence for this. Phillip Rivers, believe it or not, sat with the Chargers behind Drew Brees for 2 seasons, right, before he got his chance. So that's somebody you can look at. And Phillip Rivers played in this league for a long time, and he sat behind Drew Brees for 2 years before Drew Brees got traded to the Saints. So that's the way to look at it. Carson Palmer didn't play his first season at all, and we remember, Carson Palmer with the Cincinnati Bengals, how well he played. He didn't play one snap his first season. Um, those are some of the quarterbacks some good quarterbacks out there. And now you have to think about young quarterbacks that probably should have sat behind guys their first season before they just got thrown to the wolves and got thrown to the fire and then pan out well, right? So, it's really not a correct formula to do it. If a guy if he plays right away, I don't think you could know really, it's probably going to be based off the situation more than anything for the players and things like that. So that's the way you got to look at it, guys. But I think at the end of the day, this is why the timetable and where he was picked at is why everybody's so befuddled or outraged or whatever you want to call it, because it doesn't fit the Atlanta Falcons timetable right now. Going out and get a win now quarterback, you want to put pieces around him to be successful, and then top 10 pick that's not going to be utilized for 2 years, and you have to eat that money, right? And understanding that this guy, just think about this. Will he end up being the backup quarterback, or will he end up being that third quarterback? Well, some games he might not even dress out, right? And that'd be crazy. A top 10 pick don't even dress out for the game because they want Taylor Heineke to be the backup. So that's going to be interesting. I think he's going to end up being the backup quarterback. And Taylor Heineke going to get bumped down to number 3. But these are all questions. Anybody questioning this has the right to, because the timetable and the pick just don't line up with where the Falcons at right now, right? But last time Oma said, just look at it like the Atlanta Falcons did not have a first round pick last night, right? They picked for 2025, and we did have a pick last night. Look at it that way. If you look at it in that light, right, you can say, well, they didn't pick last night. They got 7 picks tonight to make this team better. That's the way you look at it. And if you look at it like that, but guess what? They already made a pick for next year, because they probably gonna lose some picks from tampering anyway. So we already made us a pick for next year. We got our succession plan for our quarterback, because we don't plan to be up in the top 10 next year. That's the way you look at it. That's the way you look at it. Smitty said, "Are you still looking disappointed round 2, round 3?" I'm not disappointed anymore, man. I have come to grips with it. I'm at peace. And you tried to get me on board last night, but I'm good now. I'm good. Did you see the reports today? We tried to move up to get Latu. Yes, that was that probably would have made everybody night, right? If we would been able to move back into teams and got the first defensive player on the board and lay out to Latu, that would have really probably made everybody feel better, right? But once again, Falcons missed out on the pass rusher. I don't know how many times we don't try to trade for a pass rusher and we miss out on them. And once again, it happened to us again last night. But it's some good guys. We're going to talk about that towards the end here. Some guys that they can definitely draft in round 2 that can help this team out. So we got to look at it like that. So it's some edges out there today. We're definitely going to talk about some of those guys. Millie Mills said, got Braylon Trice out there. We got Nealon is out there as well. We got a couple defensive tackles. We got defensive backs out there. We still got a couple of wide receivers, talented wide receivers on the board as well, especially in that top round of the draft. So they're gonna have some talented guys that failed because it was a record 23 offensive players got drafted last night, right? 23 offensive players got drafted last night, and only 9 defensive players. So that means a lot of defensive players actually that maybe had a first round grade got pushed down to the second round. So that's really good. Taylor probably get cut June 1st. You might be right about that, but I think they probably going to keep 3 quarterbacks because of the little rule they had with the third quarterback. Christian Lewis said, I got over the shock, went back to Terry Raheem Blank interviews and said this week that they have to plan the picks beyond 2025. And believe it or not, I think it was Kelly Price. She put out a snippet of the interview that Terry Fontenot gave on Wednesday, where he talked about if you got your franchise quarterback there, you got to take him. I mean, he pretty much was telling us. He was pretty much telling us what he was going to do. And the word on the street that they had him at number 2 quarterback in this draft, right with Jalen Daniels. So they really, thought highly of him, and that's why they went and got him. They got their guy. That's what they really did. And we know if you got your guy there, especially at the quarterback position, that's what you're going to go do. So that's what they did. And then there was also some reports that the Seahawks, the Saints, and the Raiders were trying to move up to get Michael Penix as well. So they weren't the only team eyeing him. So that's where we definitely can see that. Smitty says, I think we can get an edge. Help in the yes. I think we can get I think we better get some edge help there. If you want to calm this fan base down, man, you got to go defense. I can see him going receiver if one of those receivers still on the board, Ande Mitchell or maybe Ladd McConkey still there. Keon Coleman, maybe if he's still on the board, maybe they got to go receiver, but you got to be thinking defense. For me, I'm hoping that they bump up, to that second pick, because I think Buffalo's going to take their pick. I think Buffalo's probably going to take a receiver here at the first pick. But if we can get that second pick and we get Johnny Newton, I mean, that's who I want. I want to get Johnny Newton, man. If we get him, I think the Atlanta Falcons kind of calm everybody down. Let's see here. Plus win now. Synopsis require planning for the present, the future, investment management level. Terry has said that in the last 2 interviews. Yeah, I mean, for any GM, trust me, guys, they're building for the future. And the strangest thing about the Michael Penix Jr. pick is that, we won't know about this particular pick until probably 2027, right? Because especially if he have to sit for those 2 seasons, we won't even know how this pick panned out for a couple of seasons. So that's one thing you got to consider. Michael says, I can see a wide receiver so Kurt can have a new toy and be quiet. Yeah, I think the whole idea of, Kurt upset with the franchise and things I think they blown it out of proportion. I mean, they gave the dude $100 million guaranteed dollars, man. Like he ain't that mad, right? And he called Michael Penix Jr. I think people trying to make it more upset for Kirk Cousins than he probably upset. Yes, everybody was shocked. Nobody was not shocked yesterday when they heard Michael Penix Jr. getting that call for the Atlanta Falcons. So, of course he was shocked. He was like, "What are we doing?" Right? Everybody thought that. So, initial reactions is what you're going to get when something like that nobody expected to happen. But, Kirk Cousins, I don't think people blowing out of proportion that he don't trust the organization no more. And I don't believe all that crap, man. That's just trying to add fuel to the fire. Do I believe that you're going to have some sticky situation? Yes, because Michael Penix come out and be balling in preseason. Kirk Cousins have a bad game here, a bad game there. People going to start calling for the young kid to get in. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. Mike Steele can get Trotter Jr., move Troy more the edge guy. Yeah, somebody mentioned that last night about moving Troy out to edge. I think Caden Ellis probably would be better because he does have pass rushing abilities, because that's what he did when he was with the Aints. He had over 8 sacks when he rushing the passer out there with the Aints, and then you put Landman and Troy in the middle. I like that a little bit more when you talking about pass rush. Maybe Willis also said, okay, Kool-Aid McKinstry, yes, he's still out there, and Cooper DeJean is still out there as well. So, like I said, Atlanta Falcons got a a lot of picks that they can really take if they really want to. So you gotta like that. Um, Chris said Terry also said players recruitment 24/7, 365, be on the draft. So find players that best fit, move forward. That has been something Terry has no. Yes. So what Chris is talking about, which is 100% true. Free agency still is out there as well. Right. So let's not like I said, guys, we can build this team. We talking about one pick, and the Falcons just made their 2025 pick last night. That's what they did. So I mean that's what happened, man. Christian also says, I don't know why Cousins would be upset. Raheem said everyone has to do their best. If they need to help, ask, need resources. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just I mean, he knows it's a business. He understands this, man, and he know he can't play forever, and you want them to sacrifice the future, the spare feelings and things like that, man. They just paid this man $100 million guaranteed. They ain't have to spare no feelings. Like, suck it up, bro. You the starter. We looking for the future. We ain't bring him in to try to take your job, you know. But you got to play. You got to ball out though. That's why we brought you here. So do your job, and we shouldn't have no issues, man. That's the way I look at it. People saying that he's upset. It is what it is with that. Next thing, guys, let's get down to the real reason that the Atlanta Falcons drafted Michael Penix Jr. and this the franchise quarterback thing. That's really what it boils down to, right? And we felt the pain the last 3 seasons. Let's just be honest. We felt how it really is when you don't have a franchise quarterback, right? It's one thing the Atlanta Falcons, and I know Matt Ryan was polarizing. Some people hated him. Some people was lukewarm on him, cold, whatever. But we didn't worry about quarterback play for 14 seasons when Matty Ice was here, right? And then these last 3 seasons, man, it was non-existent. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons probably could have went to the playoffs back-to-back years if we had better quarterback play. It's just really just that simple. The Atlanta Falcons probably could have went to the playoffs back-to-back years if we had better quarterback play, right? Even with the roster wasn't, as good as we wanted to be, right? The first season, yeah, I mean, we had Matt Ryan. The first season we had Matt Ryan. That roster was not really good. Still won 7 games, right? You come back like the next year, Marcus Mariota, he plays better. We had better quarterback there. We did probably make it because we had top 5 running attack, right? Better quarterback play. Who knows what happened with that, right? Defense was not really a great defense, but they hold teams to 19 points a game, So better quarterback play in 2022 we could have had opportunity. Remember, we were still in the playoff hunt towards the end of the season that year. Then last year, we know what happened, right? Mr. Triple Double himself, 12, 12, 12. Desmond Ridder, right? Better quarterback play, and we'll be having a different conversation. Well, guess what? The Atlanta Falcons in the last 3 months have doubled down on that issue, and now potentially for the next 10 to 12 years, the Atlanta Falcons should not have an issue with their quarterback. That's what we're looking at. That's why you gotta like this pick. Yes, we want to win now. It's no doubt about it. We want to get it in now, but that's why you're looking at it. It's all about a franchise quarterback. The hardest position to play in probably any sport, right? It's the hardest position for people to actually figure out in any sport, to figure out what it takes to actually to because there's so many. But I mean, look at the Justin Fields draft class of quarterbacks. It's only one guy left on his team, his original team, and that's Trevor Lawrence, right? Only one guy left, right? That shows you how hard it is, right? And everybody's talking about the Atlanta Falcons, front office and things like that. But teams get lucky because if you look at what the Jets organization did, right? They drafted Zach Wilson. They looked up and got Aaron Rodgers, right? You look at the San Francisco 49ers. They traded all those picks, and then they trade Trey Lance, and they luckily got Brock Purdy, right? They picked him the last pick in the draft. They wasn't expecting him to be the guy. Let's be honest, right? They got lucky, right? And if Brock Purdy wasn't there, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan story could be totally different, right? But they found a quarterback that can play. It's all about the franchise quarterback. And, the Atlanta Falcons, how crazy it was, how befuddled everybody thought about that pick last night. They basically telling everybody that we ain't having no quarterback problem no more. And if you like it or love it, it is what it is. He's here. And if you just do what I suggested, Atlanta Falcons did not have a first round pick last night. They picked for they took their pick for 2025, and we got 7 picks tonight. Look at it that way, and you'll be good with it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Sarah T said Kirk Cousins is no Brady, pay Mahomes. He don't have it like that to call him and let him know he's important man around that bit. See, that's the thing. Like, somebody said wherever you want to put him at, you want to rank him a top 10 quarterback, whatever, right? Does he have cachet? You got to call him. Well, let's be honest. All fairness to Kirk Cousins, he looked like he was going to be the face of the franchise. For at least we knew he was going to be face for the franchise for a couple of years. So it had to catch him off guard. It caught all of us off guard. So I understand. Like I said, initial reaction. You had to sit back, like I did last night, guys, and take a step back and understand, the game plan. I still don't agree with it. I'm not gonna lie. I still wish they would have took an impact player. And the fact that defensive players failed so far, maybe they shouldn't have put the defensive player. Maybe they would have picked a Rome Odunze that was still there, and we still would have been pissed off. Like, you guys know this. So don't act like you guys still wouldn't have been pissed off if they would have picked the Rome Odunze. But there wasn't the only team that wasn't so high on the defensive players, because the first defensive player went off at number 15, right? So, and only 9 went in the entire first round. So, everybody had these high grades on their defensive players, but let's be honest, they failed. They really failed down the draft board. So, and quarterback did have a play in that, but it was a lot of offensive linemen that went in that first round. So offense is taking over. That's what it's all about, right? But if they would have took a Rome Odunze because he was there on the board, because the Bears drafted him next, you guys would have been pissed. Now, difference with Rome Odunze is that he definitely would have been a factor for a win now move for the Atlanta Falcons. He would have helped us win now, right? But if they didn't see one of those defensive players as a top 10 pick, who are you to tell them that's what they should have went and pick one of those guys, because everybody's saying they need a pass rusher? Well, they didn't have the grades on those guys that high. They didn't have the grades on guys that high. That's just where it is. Let's see here. I like that we're taking risks beyond we're used to, but it's scary because it's unpredictable for us. That is a great point. And then the craziest thing about what she just said is the fact that Raheem Morris this is second opportunity, man. He's taking a lot of risks, but he's being bold and confident, right? Instead of being timid and scared, right? You got to living your convictions. Like, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna do it, because we're gonna win some games, right? That's this mindset. There's no if ands buts about it. We're gonna be better. We're gonna come out and we're gonna ball out. That's the way he's looking at it, and that's the way you got to look at it too. So, that's the way I like it. Like I said, honestly, I didn't see a lot of players worthy of being taken in the first, the second, and third rounds. determine the draft for us. It's definitely gonna have to determine the draft for us this year, 100%, right? And you said the second and third round, so that's why I'm saying, right? Because we got 2 third-round picks, right? If you have to give up a 4th-round pick to move up in this second round to get a guy like a Johnny Newton or one of those, cornerbacks that you want, like a Cooper DeJean or a Kool-Aid McKinstry, somebody like that, right? You do that, right? Give one of those 4th-round picks, take those 2 third-round picks and start to put some talent around this team to help, everybody feel better about what the Falcons are doing, right? So that's the way you got to look at it. So great point about why they dropped so far. It's a lot of players drop, and honestly, it looking like how some of these players were rated. Like Dallas Turner was rated, but he went a little bit later, right? He went. I think he was the 3rd defensive player taken off the board, and a lot of people had him as the first guy going, right? So you don't know. That's one thing. We do all these mock drafts. All these people put their mock drafts out, and when you see a shock like a Michael Penix Jr. number 8, where nobody probably had him mocked at all. But if you go look at a guy like Brian Baldinger, who actually pretty much said it. He knew something, man. He had to know something because he all of a sudden he do a video and said he feel like the Atlanta Falcons are going to draft a quarterback. He knew something. Somebody said something to him about that. So that was weird. Newman is still on the board. Safety, yes. Tyler Newman is still there. Every linebacker, you're right. Wilson. They got a lot of good linebackers out there. I mean, it's a lot of good players. You got what's his name? Let me go down the list here real quick. Still got Jalen Polk on the board, Lat McCunkley, Keon Coleman, Jaden McMillan, who actually played with Michael Penix Jr. You got Malachi Corley, Jody Wilson. So it's a lot of guys that's still on the board. I really like Jackson Power Johnson, the center guard. That guy, I think he's going to go early in the round here. So it's a lot of guys that's still on the board, guys. That we definitely Atlanta Falcons in a good spot to get a good pick here at number 43. Even if they stay pat, they still should be able to get a solid pick that everybody should be happy with, unless they take Spencer Rattler at number 43. If they take Spencer Rattler in 43, I think somebody might go down to Flower Bench and burn it down because I think all chaos will break loose. It's like we're not going to double down on quarterback. We're going to triple down on it. We're going to take Spencer Rattler. That would be insane, but that would be insane. On my last point, guys, because we are 12 minutes away from the draft starting here. With all that being said, like I have got over it, but they better win games. They better win, man. When you decide that you're gonna not draft somebody in the first round for 2024 in a win now move, you better win, man. Winning cures all. I'm telling you that right now. If they win, we won't even care about this pick, this number 8th overall pick. You guys, we will forget about it, and I know we will. They win games, right? He said he want to outrun the South. Well, let's do it because that's the only way you're going to make people, especially if we still can't produce pass rush and we can't stop anybody on defense and we suck and we losing games and everybody's like, well, maybe you should have made the team better instead of taking a quarterback at number 8, right? So they better win, right? That's at this point, like this is where Raheem Morris need to be able to use that confidence that he's shown, since he's been hired back at Atlanta Falcons and they got to produce, man. They got to win games. That at the end of the day, they win. Like I said, I will be forgotten. Like I said, think about the 49ers, right? They give all those draft picks to get Trey Lance. They've been in the NFC Championship game twice, right? Been to the Super Bowl one time, right? So since that time, right, the 49ers been winning, right? So people forgot that they gave up all that draft capital to go get a guy that they traded for a 4th-round pick to the Dallas Cowboys, right? People forget about that, right? So you win games, people won't even care about that the Atlanta Falcons took Michael Penix Jr. at number 8, that they're not going to play for 2 years, right? People won't even care about that. So they better win games. That I'm telling you, if they win games, all will be forgotten. But we come out, man, and we start out, 0-3, 0-4, and crap like that. Atlanta Falcons are gonna get killed, and rightfully so. Right. So I'm just throwing it out. Now we still got 7 picks tonight to fix this thing, right? So it's not the end all be all. The one pick is killed our draft, whatever. We still got 7 picks, and like I said, there are a lot of talented players that's out there, still on the board. So the Atlanta Falcons definitely have an opportunity to make up for anybody angst about what they did last night. They tried to come back up. We did get a report on that, but it just didn't pan out for them. So hopefully they they figure this thing out and make everybody happy tonight. Maybe tomorrow everybody feel a whole lot better than they felt last night, right? About this whole thing. Right. But yeah, like I said, are they Mitchell's out there? Cooper DeJean, Lat McConkey, Kool-Aid McKinstry, linebacker Edgerrin Cooper, probably the best linebacker in the draft. Like I said, Johnny Newton for Illinois. That's who I would jump on right away if I was the Falcons. Troy Franklin from Oregon, wide receiver. Enos Rakestraw, right? Another cornerback. Marshawn Nealon, if we're trying to get pass rushers here. I just talked about Jackson Power Johnson is a guy that we definitely can pull. So it's some guys that's out there on the board. That the Atlanta Falcons. We got T.J. Tampa. We got Tyler Newman still out there, safeties. So it's guys that that the Atlanta Falcons can still draft here at 43 that will make this team better. And then we still got 2 more picks after that at 74 and 79. If you like a guy up in that top half part of the draft, you at 43. If you can move up, to like 34, 35, and grab Johnny Newton for one of those teams that you think might be going to pull him off the board and give up a 4th round, 5th round pick, I'm cool with that, right? Because you want a guy, especially now, you want a guy that can come right in and make this team better right away. So that's what I'm hoping they do. EQ says we need a strong safety for sure, but the edges is a bigger need for me. I'm not gonna argue with you that you are right. But to be honest with you, I don't think it's an edge left that would really. They would have to do it by committee, so they would have to double down on that position to try to make something happen. You said I love Rice in the 3rd. Yeah, you love the bloodline if you take him. So there you go with that. Michael Penix Jr. last name is going to be the name that you don't want to misspell. Oh, that's funny, man. Yeah, you change that X for another letter, right? Yeah, you're right. That'd be hilarious. That would be hilarious. But guys, so you heard what I had to say. If you watch last night's show, 95 North show, I was pissed, man. Like, out of all players that the Atlanta Falcons could have drafted at number 8, right? I wouldn't have been mad at any one of them except the one guy they drafted. So I felt everybody pain last night. But the way I cope with this is that Atlanta Falcons did not have a pick last night. They picked a pick for next year, right? They already took one of their picks for next year because they know they're gonna lose on pick and tempering. So they went on and took a 2025 pick. Only problem, they took him in the top 10 where, he won't be able to contribute probably for the next 2 seasons, especially if Kirk Cousins play like we think he's going to play. So, but that's okay, right? Because now we can say we don't have to worry about quarterback for years to come. And that's the way you got to look at it. That's the way you got to look at it. Only problem is Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris better win games because they won't be here to see the fruits of this wild pick if that's the case. So if they want to be here to make sure Penix, deliver on what they just did from this pick, they better win games. That's just really what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to. Appreciate it. Really excited about this second round. Tune in tonight after the round. We'll talk about these next picks that we get and see, do we feel better about what the Falcons did in day 2. That's all I have, guys. Enjoy day 2 of the draft. And let's see what these guys do to make us feel better. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.